We're four friends with hot takes on food media.
And we're here to review and recap all kinds of food shows in bite-sized seasons.
Plus, virtual potlucks, cooking adventures, and food memes.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hey, it's Justine.
And it's me, Meg.
Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes. This season, we are covering the How to Cook That YouTube series with Ann Reardon. And we're taking a trip through the years with Ann from 2015 to present, sampling some of her most popular videos from giant candy and tiny food to 200-year-old recipes. And in the next coming weeks, we'll be debunking some TikTok trends with her. On today's menu, it's wedding cake week.
Here in the tent.
Yeah.
We'll be discussing a wedding cake recipe from 200 years ago and a mini wedding cake for Valentine's Day. Before we get started, though, let's find out what we've been cooking, eating, and getting up to in the kitchen. How about you, Justine? What have you been making or eating or doing?
First of all, I missed you both last week. Are you doing well now? After the lurgy?
Yeah. No more lurgy over here.
I am now lurgy-free.
Good. We're all rooting for you. I made a few things recently. I made another compote, this time a raspberry strawberry blend with like orange zest, which is what I've been having in my breakfast for the last week and a half. I've also made something fun, which people have seen on our Instagram, some vegan, gluten-free cherry cheesecake bars. These are the kind of cheesecakes that are vegan that are like set in the freezer, so they're very much more like ice cream bars, which is fine because it's still very, very hot here in LA. And then last night I made my own mayonnaise.
Oh.
It's a cashew lemon mayo. This is from Miyoko's Butter?
Yes.
Her cookbook.
But Justine, you said you were looking for more things to do with eggs. You could have made egg mayo.
Yeah.
I know, and I knew you were gonna bring this up, but I also kind of forgot.
Yeah, as soon as you said cashews, I was like, so not with eggs.
Not an egg. I still have a lot of vegan cookbooks is my issue with why I don't make things with eggs, as I need to find new recipes. Which is it's a little bit difficult, not super difficult to just specifically be like dairy-free, includes eggs, like that sort of genre. It's easier to search vegan. If people have recipes that include eggs and stuff like that, hit me up. But I think mostly I was making a mayo to eliminate mustard, right? So I'm back on my elimination foods kick for my health. I took the blood test to see what my food sensitivities are. You may remember I did this a couple of years ago. So I am avoiding so many spices. It's the spices that hurt me. And it's just not easy because everything's got everything in it. So when you're someone who's avoiding dairy, gluten, sugar, and about a million things that taste good, sometimes you just make your own mayo for the heck of it.
There you go.
That's my life. How about you, Amanda?
As per usual, not doing a ton in the kitchen. Partly, it's just really hot right now and we don't have air conditioning in that room. To then add in an oven makes it unbearable.
Is your oven plugged back in?
It is. My husband has plugged it back in. It is connected to gas again. It is working. He did make a pizza in there the other day. But I, again, avoided that room while he was making the pizza because I, went in there to get water. And I was just, instantly sweating. It was so gross. So, yeah, the oven is working again. Just realistically, with temperatures, I'm probably not going to be cooking a lot of things in there until the temperature outside gets a little bit cooler. I did want to highlight a local place I went to, and I'll send you guys a picture. Last weekend with my bestie in town, we went to brunch at a French cafe place called Le Chatelaine. My main dish was like this mac and cheese that had like 4 different kinds of cheese in it, including Gruyere. It was very delicious.
That doesn't sound very French.
I mean, it was called something fromage, but
Mac and cheese.
their main thing that they're known for is like their bakery. And my friend got like a little tart and everything, and then I got a chocolate mouse, and it is so darn cute.
Was it filled with chocolate mousse?
It's chocolate.
It has
Mouse.
So it's chocolate on the outside, and it's on like a little like cookie. And then inside the chocolate part, like the main part of the mouse is actually just cream. It's literally, it looks like a little mouse.
Oh my gosh.
It's cute.
It's so cute. Like there were tons of things. My go-to whenever I'm anywhere with like French desserts, I usually do creme brulee. But I saw this little guy and I could not help but want to eat it. And then of course, my friend and I were like, she ended up, when she saw I got it, she was like, oh yeah, can I have one of those mice too? And we decapitated our mice and ate them.
Oh my god. Chocolate dipped, I would say, maybe?
Yeah, I think chocolate dipped. Because as you can see, it's like it's a cookie, kind of a crumbly cookie base.
Yeah, it looks like piped or formed chocolate ganache or something like that to me.
Yeah, because it's cream inside the chocolate part. That's the mouse. But it was very tasty. I think their bakery is definitely their best part. They have like sandwiches and stuff, but I think for your money's worth, the best part is the bakery items.
You want to eat it? It's looking at you.
I know. Don't you want to bite his head off?
It's too cute to eat.
Oh my god.
What about you, Meg? What have you been up to?
Occasionally, every few months or so, Trader Joe's has a cooking contest that they host on Instagram. And when they have these cooking contests, you have to use 5 or fewer ingredients, all from Trader Joe's, around a theme that they've elected. So their most recent one was their corn contest. So using 5 or fewer Trader Joe's ingredients featuring corn was the parameters of the contest. The winner gets a $200 Trader Joe's gift card. And I immediately had an idea, so that's why I decided to enter the contest. If it was something I would have had to like think about, I'm like, that's not worth my time because that's hard to think of. But they've got this great seasoning called Everything But the Elote, and it's like the spices that you would put on top of elote, corn on the cob. So I was like, well, what if I made like an elote cornbread muffin? So that's essentially what I made. I didn't end up using those spices actually because 5 or fewer ingredients is not very many ingredients. So I used their cornbread mix, which also required an egg and milk and oil. And oil is one of their freebie ingredients. So you can like use oil and butter and sugar and salt and stuff like that and not have it count toward the 5. But egg and milk are not among the freebie ingredients. So my 5 ingredients were the cornbread mix with the egg and the oil and the milk and fresh corn off the cob and Trader Joe's Everything and the elote Greek-style yogurt dip. So that's how I got the elote seasoning into there. So basically I mixed up the Greek yogurt dip with the fresh corn kernels, and I put that in the center of the cornbread muffins as sort of like a filling, and then baked the muffins. So they're these savory cornbread elote muffins. Yeah, they were really good. I liked them. They were easy to make. They were tasty. I do think that Trader Joe's cornbread mix is more sugary than I would make if I were making my own cornbread. It's very sweet cornbread. But it was fun to make. I took a few pictures, and I didn't win. I'm not surprised. There's this person I follow on Instagram. Her handle is food is a 4-letter word. And she has won this contest so many times, and she won this one as well. God. So she's very creative with her recipes, and she definitely has Trader Joe's number because she seems to always win, but it always seems well deserved too.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't win.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds delicious.
if you want to check out my so-called recipe, it's on my Instagram.
On today's menu, we are going to start with wedding cake recipe from 200 years ago. And the YouTube description on this one is still pretty bare bones. It says wedding cake recipe from 200 years ago, has some bizarre techniques and recipes, and it took days to make.
I did want to chime in. I listened to our last episode that I was not a part of, and you guys were joking about how bare bones these YouTube descriptions are. And it's really just keyword placement. Like, as we'll go through more of Ann Reardon's YouTube channel, she's a very savvy YouTube creator, and she talks often in her videos about the YouTube algorithm and why certain videos get served to viewers and why certain videos are more popular than others. And so I think that you can see that within her own videos. And in these early videos, it's like, let's put keywords in the description. And that's how this video might show up in someone's feed if they're searching for specific things. So I think that accounts for a lot of these earlier descriptions. And then we'll see as we go on that the style changes a bit.
I think also in these early ones, she's very keen to just push towards her website if you want more information.
Yes, she very specifically mentions howtocookthat.net a couple of times. I did enjoy this episode though. Like, this reminded me a bit of when they do like the ancient recipes in Great British Bake Off. When they've done some of those, and just to see, like, this was like a Napoleonic cake and everything, which also I feel like the term cake is a little relative.
Yes.
Once the construction started,
At
I was
no
like,
point
oh,
is there cake.
There's no cake in this.
no, absolutely
no
zero
cake.
cake in this wedding cake.
The cake is a lie. Yeah, do we want to describe for the listener what this thing is?
It's like a gingerbread house, but made with pastry.
But instead of gingerbread, a lot of weird, obscure recipes.
Yeah, and like nut bars kind of thing.
Yeah, they called those pistachio wafers. So speaking of howtocookthat.net, did you guys check out the recipe on her website? There's a lot more information that she writes out about it.
I did not.
The almond pistachio wafers, I think, were kind of a highlight for me, for sure.
Those look the tastiest. She said those were among the more delicious parts of the construction. The pastry itself, or the paste as the recipe called it, I think those were entirely for structure. It did not sound good. It did not look good. It went through the oven like 4 or 5 times. I can't imagine even trying to eat that.
Yeah, especially the part that was like the globe, that it just kept getting like, here, put another layer of meringue on and then bake it again. And put another layer of meringue on and bake it again.
So she said that some of this was like comparable to what I just Googled, baby rusk, which is teething biscuits for babies.
Everyone knows baby food is the best food.
Sounds great.
Yeah, super tasty.
The recipe was translated to English from French, but then there were a lot of things where, well, maybe this person didn't even know math at this juncture. But then also I saw in the comments that the thing with the eggs were probably originally duck eggs for that time and region.
Oh.
A lot of variables happening here.
Yeah, she kept having to add more eggs to the pastry, like, quote unquote, paste, because it was just like crumbled up bits of dough. Like, it wasn't actually creating something that you could make anything out of for the longest time, and then did not make nearly enough for the amount that she needed.
That's what I really like about Ann's videos, is that she approaches a lot of recipes from a very analytical standpoint, and she's a food scientist by training. So to see her tackle a recipe that's A, very old, and B, quite possibly mistranslated or maybe just incorrect, and to see her think through it and be like, well, logically I know that this will be impossible if I use these measurements, so what would I do instead? So I really enjoy watching her think through the problem and talk through the problem, and then for an old recipe like this, what sort of modern updates she chooses to make versus what she decides to do according to the original recipe. So I find it just very interesting to watch. So far, her videos that we've watched for the podcast, none of them have been like, oh, I'm definitely going to make that. I mean, obviously no one's going to make this, right? It's entirely a gimmick recipe, but there's a lot of enjoyment to be had in just watching her create a very successful finished product.
I liked how she took like tracing paper and had it over the recipe because it's in like a very old book, and how she was doing like her math on there and then underlining certain things. I'd never thought of that. I mean, it makes sense, but the idea that you can write in the margins without actually just like making a mark on the book itself.
Yeah, that was very clever. And so how many different parts were there to this? There was the pastry, the pistachio almond cookies, the choux pastries filled with custard, the little wafer cookies that she said she would substitute for macarons if she were ever to make this again, which she wouldn't. The meringues, the pistachios. And then, so there's all these recipes. She said that the recipe itself is 10 pages long. And then it took her 2.5 days to make. And I was flabbergasted. I was like, only 2.5 days? This would take me like a week to make.
Yeah.
It made me think of in our last episode, Justine, when you and LJ were talking about how many days would it take to make that makeup cake.
Right.
And then it's so funny because you're like, oh, this would have to be 2 to 3 days at least. And then this giant monstrosity that she makes is like, oh, it took me 2.5 days. And I thought the same thing, like, that's it? Like, that's all it took you to do all of it? Especially because more than once she was like, well, that wasn't enough, so I'm going to have to go make this again to make enough for the full recipe.
Yeah. Well, I think on Bake Off, though, they would force them to make it in 4 hours, though.
Yeah.
True.
And it would be a technical challenge.
So it wouldn't count towards anything.
Right. Make the cakes a la Duchesse in the usual way. That would be all it would say.
Yeah. This is very ugly. It's hideous.
It is hideous.
It's so ugly.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all. The one thing that she changed that I was like, oh, I kind of think the original might have been interesting was the idea of putting jam in the choux pastry. I was like, I think that would be fine to try. But she was like,
yeah, it'd be
no.
like a little jelly donut.
Exactly.
Yeah, about its looks, like it truly is hideous. And I was like, I would hope that at least after this much work, you would have something that at least looked beautiful. But it doesn't look very beautiful. Only certain parts of it taste good. Like a lot of it doesn't even seem to taste good.
Or is edible. I mean,
or it was even edible.
No,
yeah.
I think it's just a holder. It's just like a giant trophy for vanilla chantilly cream.
Yeah. It's just a vehicle for the cream. I guess the 1700s were a dark time for pastries.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it too, is like French pastry is known for being like so precise but also beautiful. And then this is like,
Yes. Horrendous. It looks like Ugly Sonic.
but it doesn't have human teeth, so we're gonna be okay, guys.
Does it? I don't know.
Have we covered something with human teeth in it before? I'm so confused.
No, I didn't.
No, it's a Sonic, the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ugly Sonic has human teeth.
Ugly Sonic. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm on the same page now.
I'm sorry, I'm just being a giant nerd over here.
I think it's so funny because it does kind of look like the giant Ferrero Rocher at some points.
We have two hemispheres stuck together.
Yeah, an uglier, less edible version of that.
Though it did still seem a little bit like people had to eat with their hands.
Yeah, at least this one seemed to be easier to portion out. Like you could break off a cookie, you know, or you could break off one of the tiny meringues. I don't know. Kudos to those kids for looking and acting so excited when that's what they were presented with.
I know, they were like, wow!
Oh, this is amazing!
We're like, ew! Burn it!
I mean, it almost could have been just like you torch the top and it's just like, just the centerpiece.
Yeah, at some point in French pastry, they were like, how about we make things good and edible? Yeah.
And beautiful.
Sure. This wasn't the time. This was not the time. I'm like, spoilers, food from 200 years ago is bad. Food bad then.
At least it didn't have aspic in it, right?
Oh, God. Thankfully not.
No, we love an aspic here.
There were several times when the recipe would just say something like, do this in the usual manner, or roll it to the usual size. And I was reminded of a tweet by Jay Frosting that said, every medieval recipe is like this: 4 measures of good butter, summer flour, mixed to the height of a blackbird, fold in the normal way. It's so true, though.
It is to the height of a blackbird.
But yeah, I was impressed. I would never eat it nor make it.
I don't even want to look at it.
I don't want to. Yeah. What's that thing, trichtophobia or something, where you're afraid or you can't stand the look of small holes? I was getting a reaction like that to looking at this.
Mm-hmm. It's those pistachio spikes for some reason.
Horrible. I saw the thumbnail and recoiled. I was like, ugh.
I just kept wondering, when is the cake happening? And then it just wasn't.
Never their cake shall be.
So none of us are recreating this, right? We're not going to spend 2.5 days in the kitchen.
We'll just wait until the potluck episode. No, definitely not.
LJ will shock us all.
Yeah, so it was more like a math lesson, a history lesson, and then that, yeah.
I mean, definitely entertaining, I think, to watch and to see her do all the pieces and parts. But yeah, the quote-unquote cake as a whole, not appetizing for taste or visual looks.
Yes, educational, entertaining, not aspirational.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more wedding cake. And we're back. In this next video we're talking about, it is mini wedding cake for Valentine's Day. Now, this one did have a slightly longer description, and this one is 2018, so it's the newest one we've done so far. And it said, "Hi, I'm Ann Reardon. Today," and I'm not going to do an accent. "Today I am making the tiniest wedding cake you've ever seen in my miniature kitchen. And I might even sneak in a little footage of my own wedding. Apologies in advance for the lack of professional video footage. It was a long time ago. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next in the Teeny Weeny Challenge."
The Teeny Weeny Challenge.
Teeny Weeny. My first question is, what are those tiny, tiny eggs, guys?
I had to find an answer to this. They are chicken eggs that have been altered. So I went looking through the comments. I went looking a bunch of places for like, what the heck are these eggs? So apparently she did a later video, a molecular gastronomy video, and she takes regular chicken eggs, separates the whites from the yolks, and then using the magic of chemistry, you use some combination of sodium alginate on the egg yolk, and this kind of changes its consistency. And then you add calcium lactate with water, and you drop the yolks into that mixture, and that forms them into these teeny tiny spheres. Like a yolk, they sort of form like a barrier around it, or like a boba, you know. Okay. So basically, through some chemicals and chemistry, she takes little droplets of real egg yolk and makes them into these little like caviar type sized eggs, and then just portions out a little bit of the egg white. And also in this molecular gastronomy video, or maybe it was in another teeny tiny challenge, she fries mini eggs using this same technique.
Wow. This is another, I would never make this.
No.
I would never do this, but it's entertaining to watch. And it takes me back. There was a point in time where my brother-in-law he still likes tiny things, but he would only watch like tiny videos.
Wow.
Is he a Chef Lenny the Lizard fan? Chef Lenny is all about mini food.
Right now he's into coffee brewing. Like, he's making his own coffee beans and stuff. So
I don't know. In an effort to find an answer to this small egg question, the answer that I liked best was tiny chickens.
Tiny chickens.
Yeah, this was a fun one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this video a lot. I'm not one of those people who really seeks out tiny foods or miniatures. Like, I've never really been a person to do like doll houses or stuff like that. But there is something pretty fascinating and just kind of cute about seeing the mini kitchen. I loved seeing what she's outfitted her mini kitchen with, all the utensils, the tiny stand mixer, the teeny tiny measuring spoons. I think I would go cross-eyed if I tried to make this. I can't look at things so tiny.
yeah.
Tiny stabbing knife.
Tiny offset spatula.
That is the one that killed me. She was like, and now we'll grab the tiny offset spatula. And I was like, of course there's a tiny offset spatula.
And I think a big part of making an effective or most well-executed miniature whatever is keeping the scale the same. So I think it really does take a lot of effort to be like, well, you can't just get a smaller version. You have to get a smaller version that's in scale to everything else around it. And I think that she's created a really good mini kitchen here.
Yeah, I do think at some point, using like a tiny knife instead of like a regular knife can still cut something that size, but just like sticking to the bit, you know?
Yeah, dedication.
It's less about making the food, but gathering, like you said, all those props that you would use in a regular kitchen, the same props, like the same offset spatula, the same rolling pin. These are all things you would think about listing to gather those props. I want to know how she did the tiny working sink.
The tiny working sink was really cute.
Yes. The tiny refrigerator. Do you think that actually kept anything cold?
I'm thinking
No.
the refrigerator is just a prop, but I was wondering about the oven, if the oven is functional or not. I think it could be because she lights the candle.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah,
I've
and
seen
like,
those
an
before.
Easy Bake Oven cooks with just a light bulb. So I imagine
light
if you had a
bulb.
well-insulated tiny metal oven that candle could probably do the trick.
Yeah, I have seen those ovens before with the candle in it, because my sister used to have a hedgehog, and so she used to send videos of hedgehogs having little tiny hedgehog birthdays, and they usually made whatever they were making for the hedgehog in one of those ovens.
That's cute.
Gosh, people love this stuff.
They sure do.
Yeah. And I realized, like, it did take me back thinking, oh yeah, this was definitely a thing. Like, people were obsessed with just like the tiny food and making everything out of tiny things.
Strawberry jam jars.
Oh, I loved the teeny tiny jam jar. That was so cute.
And like, did you buy that and it had jam in it? Or did you buy a jar and then put jam in it and then take it out with a tiny spoon? Like, so many questions.
I have a lot of questions too. I think this is one reason, though, why How to Cook That remains at the top of YouTube baking channels, because Anne does follow trends. Like you were saying, Amanda, this was definitely a thing. And yeah, it was. And that's probably the main reason why Anne did this. Like I said, she's very savvy. She knows what's trending. She knows what people are looking for. I don't think she makes very many of these teeny weeny foods lately. I could be wrong about that, but I think that she has sort of set this aside over the last couple of years. And I think for a good reason. She follows trends, but makes interesting content out of that trend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me really appreciate that you suggested this format, Justine, of seeing like the progression through the years and seeing those trends, that it's like, this took me back, like remembering my sister and my brother-in-law being obsessed with all of these videos at that time.
Or like the makeup bag cake from last episode, that very much preceded the is it a cake trend of 2019 and 2020. So she's even ahead of her time sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that was more like Cake Boss years.
Yeah, totally.
She's got so many videos and so many different kinds of videos that, yeah, it was definitely sort of this list format we've done to really the best way to track who she is through the years. She's got so many.
Yeah. And I also like this video because she's just so good at what she does, and to be able to translate her cake decorating techniques down to this scale, I thought was very impressive. And she really showcases a lot of techniques in a very short video, like the fondant, the decoration, the luster dust, the painting of the fondant. So we actually get a lot of, I don't want to say translatable technique necessarily, because I don't think I would watch this video and then be able to decorate a cake beautifully myself, but it is a good showcase for a lot of different techniques.
I will say the technique that I was the most, and this is probably the most basic, that I was just like, how did you do that? Is that she was able to cut those little tiny cakes into 3 layers.
I think frosting that was maybe the most impressive. When I try to frost a regular size cake, I get so much crumb in the frosting, you know? I don't know how she didn't just obliterate that itty bitty cake.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I recognize some of the techniques from like the makeup cake, the luster dust, the fondant and all that. So she's still like doing that, but in a whole different format. So it's very smart.
Yeah.
Keeping it fresh.
I did appreciate, coming from having watched Sweet Heat on our last season, that her nail game was strong.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was like, if you make a video that's focused so much on your fingers, just like zoomed in on your fingers the whole time, I would definitely make sure my nails looked as good as they possibly could.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh man.
Yes.
I mean, I clean my nails like every day because I hate the idea of anything, but they don't look good enough to be videoed like that on a zoomed in camera. No.
The way to take my food photography to the next level is just to stop chewing my nails, because then I can actually pose with my food.
Just put polish on. It hides all the flaws, right?
It's true.
I don't remember, and I should have went back and checked from the videos from our first episodes, but these ones I noticed that she's got her catchphrase at the end now. I don't remember if she had it in the first ones.
What's her catchphrase?
Make it a great week.
Oh, I guess I've never noticed that.
Oh, okay. I feel like I might go back and watch those other ones and see if that was in there.
What did we think of the wedding footage? It was very cute. We haven't seen Dave featured yet prominently in the videos we've covered so far, but Dave is a recurring character in the How to Cook That universe, and he's very game to try anything. He's kind of Ann's guinea pig often. He's very patient and very funny, so I enjoyed seeing this wedding footage of these two.
Young Dave! So adorable.
I thought it was very sweet to include that in this.
Mm-hmm. I hope we get more Dave in later videos. I'm not sure if we will or not.
Yeah, I'd also wanted to add, and I'm not sure about the other videos like around these years, but so far we haven't really seen her face, you know?
That's true.
True.
These early videos are, has she even appeared really? Not very much, but all of her newer videos usually starts with her introing the video. It's her talking to the camera. Yeah, there's a lot of changes between then and now.
Yeah, I think the only time we've seen her fit in this video in particular, it was in the wedding footage. And then in the giant Ferrero Rocher when she's presenting it to Australian Justine. As I think of her.
Yes.
One of the reasons, like, I know some people will tease me, like, when I listen to podcasts, I always go back to the beginning and listen all the way through, because I like hearing that progression of people finding their footing and how things do change as time goes on, and how you take the stuff that you've been doing but then not necessarily modernize it, but you know what I mean, like bring it into the newer time. And so yeah, I like that we're watching this series in that same kind of way. All right, well, this has been quite the stirring conversation. Now we're going to see what is on our back burner for today. So first up is pink sauce.
The pink sauce.
Oh man, pink sauce. I'm glad that you shared this with us, Meg.
So let me just say, one reason why I wanted to share this is that we've talked about viral TikTok food trends before. But something that I found interesting about this is that this is a viral TikTok food trend that has taken the next step of inserting itself into people's homes. So someone took this weird sauce that they made on TikTok and has now marketed it and sold it to a bunch of people. So basically the pink sauce is this condiment that is pink. It's made by someone named Chef P, I think is how it's pronounced, P-I-I. What's funny about this is that there's obviously no quality control. It's unclear to me whether this person is qualified to be labeling and shipping and packaging foodstuffs. Like, I personally wouldn't order a bottle of this, even if I thought it looked absolutely delicious, because it's apparently being shipped unrefrigerated or uncooled through the regular mail, even though it has milk in it, for example. So some people are receiving it arrived curdled. There doesn't seem to be any sort of quality assurance. Like, you'll see one person post a TikTok and the pink sauce is like this light pastel pink, and then someone else posts and it's like Pepto-Bismol pink. But bottom line, it looks disgusting. It looks like Pepto-Bismol to me. I don't think I would ever want to eat this.
Yeah, I had first seen people talking about pink sauce on Twitter, and truthfully, I was like, oh, are they just talking about when you mix ketchup and mayo together and call it pink sauce? Or, as Step Brothers made it famous, fancy sauce. I just think of it as the best combination to dip your fries in. But no, that is not what this is. It's like, it's interesting to see, like, some people describe it as like dragon fruit and mayonnaise together, but then the article that you shared with us from Gawker, it even seems like the person who is like the Chef P, who is like making this and marketing this, is changing up the ingredients.
So according to the official ingredient list, which I don't know if it is accurate, it claims to have sunflower seed oil, dragon fruit, chili, honey, vinegar, misspelled by the way, garlic, pink Himalayan sea salt. Is there a sea in the Himalayas? I don't think so. I could be wrong about that. But spices, lemon juice, milk, and citric acid. So this is what the purported recipe is.
But the purported recipe also says there's 444 servings in a bottle.
Yes, it does also say that.
Which is because it is, quote unquote, the angel number, which is just insane.
This makes me think, based off those ingredients, I was like, man, I just need to get those dragon fruit chips, blitz them up to a powder, and then with that homemade mayo I made, just add it to that. Bam, pink sauce.
See, that would actually probably be good, because it would just be pink mayonnaise, and mayonnaise is good.
Yeah, I was shocked as I was reading through, and then she's basically making this and distributing it out of her garage in Miami. Like,
yeah.
Justine's side-eye is so perfect right now.
No, and I get it. Like, and on TikTok, they want to follow the trends. Like, they gotta get on it super fast, and they love a shitstorm also. And
yes, yeah, everyone loves a disaster online.
Yeah, but like Meg said, like,
yes,
people were getting it curdled, and some of the embedded videos they had in the article are showing people like getting it in the mail, and it looks like the ones that first came out, like the packaging was really thought through. It was a pink box and all of this stuff. And then later on, it's just like shoved in a UPS bag and shipped out. And it's getting to people entirely curdled or exploded already inside.
I do think it's an interesting microcosm of TikTok. You know, I don't think every viral food trend has to be commented on, but I did think it was interesting that of all the trends, this one is like, I'm going to market it and send it to people. And I wonder if it'll ever happen again with a food trend on TikTok, or if it is like a flash in the pan type of thing, especially since it did not seem to be ultimately too successful. But I don't know. She was charging $20 a bottle. I don't know how many she sold. Maybe she really made bank, and all she had to do was that one kind of failed wave of pink sauce and then never do it again. I don't know.
Yeah, but people are actually getting sick.
Yes, unfortunately.
I guess at the end of the article, it had said that, well, first of all, the video of her, quote unquote, apologizing has been taken down. Like, it doesn't exist anymore.
No, no.
But
no regrets, she says now.
There was a quote about how, like, it's in some sort of testing phase. What is it? Currently in lab testing, once we go through lab testing, we will be able to pitch to stores. And I
Alright.
just thought, so does that make all these people that order it?
Guinea pigs?
Yeah. The lab was the general public? Like, I'm just very confused.
They went straight to human test subjects.
Once it's in stores, it's not trendy anymore, and it's not going to sell, and it's going to cost her a lot of money.
If at the end of the day she makes a safe, edible food product, then more power to her.
But remember, like, the green and purple ketchup?
Yes.
Oh, that Heinz made forever ago, yeah.
Yeah, that was also gross.
Yeah, just looking at it to begin with, I was like, it was turning my stomach just to see this being poured on various types of food. And then the further I read, I was just like, who wants to ingest this? And then you do see a couple of people that are just like pouring it all over something and being like, yeah, it tastes pretty good. It's kind of like ranch. It's kind of like this. It's kind of, I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening.
A coworker filmed one at work this week for a TikTok.
Oh, no.
With the pink sauce?
I saw him dipping chicken tenders into a pink sauce.
Oh,
and eating him.
Is he still alive? Is he okay?
I don't know. I'll check on him on Monday.
I'm worried that went from Miami to LA, but please keep us posted. Is he still alive? Did he get food poisoning? Up next on the back burner, we have Freya and Lizzie from the last season of Jabibo are moving in together.
Oh, speaking of TikTok,
Yeah.
they've got
Yes.
a joint TikTok now, and yes, they are adorable.
They got matching tattoos, they went on road trips together, and judging from this TikTok video, it kind of looks like they might be making a podcast together. Did you see them sitting down at a table with a couple of microphones together?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like they were painting them with makeup brushes. So are they doing ASMR? I don't know what's happening.
ASMR with Freya and Lizzie. Yeah, I hope whatever content they're making, if they are making content, that it does move beyond or outside of TikTok, because I still refuse to watch TikTok if I can avoid it at any cost. But I would like to see these two girls doing whatever, I'm sure, hilarious
I'll
stuff
just
they're
send
doing.
you their videos.
Sounds good.
Download
Thank you.
them.
Please spare me from having to sign up for TikTok.
I do have a TikTok. I don't get on there often because I will waste so much time. So mostly I watch TikTok videos from like Justine or my sister or my friend Jessica sending them to me.
Be gone, endless scroll.
And then, not TikTok, but more video content. The mystery menu with Sohla and Ham is back.
Yay! Our favorite Sohla series.
It's the best.
Their most recent video, they had to make a meal out of hot dogs.
It was classic Ham and Sohla. Their classic victories and not
And
victories.
defeats.
Defeats. Makes you feel good inside.
Alrighty, it is now time for some shout outs. First off, we want to say thank you to KL Blake on Instagram for liking all of our pics. Welcome back to Instagram. Thanks to everyone for joining us on our new season as we're covering how to cook that, especially Hey Jen Owens. And then thank you to the Mystery of Life Pod for loving Justine's hot saffron apple compote. And I'll shout
Thank
out
you.
LJ too, because she was really into the saffron of it all.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you all for getting in touch with us on social media. And you can always leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. Next time on the podcast, we'll be watching the How to Cook That video's Cake Rescue from Failed It to Nailed It and Edible Chocolate Art Supplies.
Make it a great week.
There you go.
We'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
We'd love to hear from you, so find us on Twitter and Instagram at pod_appétit.
And on Facebook at Pod Appétit Podcast.
You can also email us at podappetitpodcast@gmail.com and find all of our episodes on our website, podappetitpodcast.com.
Ladybirds, ladybugs, lady beetles, cochinellidee, whatever you want to call them, are a popular group of insects. That is, unless you're an aphid. My name is Rachel, and on every episode of my podcast, Hidden Wings and Bloodlust, I take you on a journey through the world of ladybirds, covering little-known species, dietary habits, music featuring ladybirds, and even ladybird-related crime. Subscribe to my show wherever you get your podcasts.